Naftali Bennett has accomplished remarkable things in his career, and many people think he is just getting started. He served as a commander in the IDF's most elite commando unit. He was a very successful high-tech entrepreneur. At the age of just 34, he served as the chief of staff to Benjamin Netanyahu, who was then the leader of the opposition in the Knesset. In 2012, he took over the Jewish Home Party, a small national religious party, and has turned it into a major force in Israeli politics. Today, Naftali Bennett serves as the head of his party and is a pivotal figure in the government as Minister of Education, Minister of Diaspora Affairs, and as a member of the government's security cabinet. He's here tonight to discuss his vision for the future of Israel and the future of Israel-Diaspora relations. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Minister Naftali Bennett. Hi. Thank you. Please join me here.
I got to tell you a story from 20 seconds ago. The difference between Americans and Israelis. So as we're getting organized here, the organizer, Manya, I think, she says, you go and take 3 steps forward, then turn left 2 steps towards the audience, wait to shake her hand, and then sit down. In Israel, it's more sort of, I think it's over there, you can go.
Yes, we tend to overmanage things here. We are so delighted to have you with us this evening, and I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to our audience, to your constituency. We are 2,400 people from 56 different countries, wow. 6 continents. We're working on Antarctica. We haven't found any Jews there yet. We have almost 400 students with us here, university students. Woo! We are Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Reconstruction, secular, religious. We are your constituency, and we do look forward to beginning this conversation and continuing it long into the future. So let's start the conversation at 10,000 feet and work our way down into the weeds. In 30 seconds, or certainly not more than a minute, can you tell us what your vision for the future of the State of Israel is?
That's a no-brainer. First of all, I want to thank all of you from the 56 countries for coming to Yerushalayim, to the State of Israel. Toda Rabba, first of all. Israel's on a very good trajectory. If it were a company, I'd say buy its stocks now. Israel is more secure, is stronger economically, stronger diplomatically. What I would say, my vision for Israel, look, we're stuck in the toughest region in the world, and we're in a storm. And this Arab Spring, Muslim winter may go on for another 5 years, 50 years, or 500 years. We have no idea. My vision for Israel is to be a lighthouse in the storm, to do good, to be strong, to project good and light on itself and upon the world by showing what a good Jewish democracy we have in the midst of the toughest place in the world. I'm fairly confident that we can reach that. The top 3 challenges from my perspective: Israel's security. The number 2 challenge is bridging the Jewish divide between Israelis and Jews abroad, primarily in the United States of America. And the third one is internal Israeli unity. There's a great deal of polarization going on in Israel. You folks from America wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But we do have a sort of internal polarization. We have to fix the internal fabric in Israel between Jews and Arabs, religious and secular, right and left, and we're on it.
Wonderful. Thank you. So now we'll move it down to maybe 5,000 feet. And in your role as Minister of Education and Diaspora Affairs, can you tell us what your goals are and what are your metrics for success? How will you know that you've succeeded?
Well, so I'm essentially two ministers. I'm Minister of Education within Israel, and I'm Minister of Diaspora Affairs, essentially Minister of the Jews. I'm your minister. Yes. So you behave. As Minister of Education in Israel, my top goals are, the first one, we've seen a recession in Israel mathematics, science, and technology in the education system, and we're changing the wave. Anyone in Israel will say Bennett is obsessed with math. I am, but it's going extremely well. And we have to continue charging the startup nation with amazing scientists from all around Israel. The second one is closing the gap between folks from the periphery, from the Negev, the Galilee, between Haredim, the Arab sector, which was way behind, and mainstream Israel. We have two sectors that are behind: the Haredim, ultra-Orthodox, and the Arab sector. I'm investing extraordinary efforts and resources on it. Bottom line, the Arab sector is looking very good. They're on a very positive trajectory. The ultra-Orthodox are on a positive trajectory, but it'll take much longer. It'll take about a generation, about 20 years, for them to close the gaps, whereas the Arab sector, in terms of education and opportunity, it's happening. Within about 3 to 4 years, we're going to see similar results in math, English, and so they can be part and parcel of Israeli society. By and large, it's looking good. So those would be the main goals. The main goal within, as Minister of Diaspora Affairs, is saving the Jews. We're going to be losing, if we don't act urgently, we're going to be losing millions of Jews to assimilation. We're losing Jews, and it's in two dimensions: connection to Judaism, regardless of Israel, and connection to Israel. Now, you know, my folks, my mom, my mom and my dad, may he rest in peace, they were born and raised in San Francisco, totally secular, had no connection to Israel, no connection or hardly a connection to Judaism. But Israel did not give up on them, and they made Aliyah over 50 years ago. And I'm thinking of all the gyms and Myrnas, there's millions of them that are out there in the United States. We have to be there for them. We have to be there, and this is an urgent mission, you know? If there's one thing that keeps me up at night, it's not Iran, it's the future of Jews in the United States of America, and we have to fix this together. I think God agrees. May there be light. Yeah.
Well, obviously the audience agrees with you, and so we'll take this down, and what does that mean, that the lights went back down? And let's take a closer look at the diaspora, because it is the concern of many people here. Some of us were at the Knesset yesterday and hearing testimony and concerns from diaspora Jews about the not robust recognition of Reform and conservative Reconstruction Jews here. Let me first start by saying we put out a new AJC survey, which I think you may have had a look at, that shows great divergence in views between Israelis and American Jews on things like the Trump administration, the transfer of the U.S. Embassy, the role of U.S. Jews in defense decisions for Israel, etc. What do you think of that? How do you react to this divide in opinion among these two important populations?
I think this is one of the greatest challenges of our generation, and for the next 5 years and 50 years, that's got to be the top of our list. We talk about AJC, there's an Atlantic Jewish chasm growing between Israelis and Jews in the United States. I'm acutely cognizant of that fact. We can't wash it away. The poll reflects that the Israeli population is gradually going more rightward and more towards the Masorti, more traditional Judaism as opposed to secular, whereas on average, American Jewry is more to the left and more liberal. That's a fact that I don't want to whitewash that, but that should not be a reason to fall apart. So we don't fully agree on everything. We are Jews, for heaven's sake. We're not supposed to agree on everything, but we are supposed to remember that we're one family. And that's the model I have. Think of a Pesach Seder, a Passover Seder. You've got your family, the long, long Seder, and there's 15 different people with different opinions. One may be a Republican, the other a Democrat. So you can argue and even get a bit angry, but you are one family. And that's what we have to figure out now. I'm working really hard, brought a lot of money and resources of Israel. I was asked by Minister of Finance in the previous government, why are we taking taxpayer money from Israel? It should go to Sderot and it should go to, to Kiryat Shmona. Why should it go to Milwaukee and Atlanta, Georgia, or Latvia? I had two answers. The first answer is the more profound one, because. That's the answer. Because we're all Jews, and all Jews need to care about each other, period. No reason to explain. That's a fundamental command. The second reason is for Israel's future and strategic standing across the world, we need strong Jewish diasporas. Now, the magnitude of the calamity that we're facing, we've had only very few examples in Jewish history. We lost 10 tribes. There were 2 tribes and another 10. We lost 10 of them because of that disconnect. We can't let that happen. I know that there are people that are giving up on it and saying, we can get all our support from the evangelists and, it'll be whatever will be. I'm all for Christian support. I'm happy about that. That's great. But that's not instead of keeping the bonds between each other. Now, I don't have answers for everything because we're not going to solve everything. I was the guy who built the Israel Plaza, the egalitarian plaza at the Kotel. And I'm saying that as also the leader of the religious party of Israel. It's tough. I got a lot of heat. But it was the right thing to do. And now anyone here can go and pray there right now. It's open, up and running.
So, and thank you so much for that. And I think we would all agree that that's part of our secret sauce is Keshe Oref. We're stiff-necked, we fight all the time, but Am Echad, we are one people. And we do tend to figure these things out. And thank you for addressing that, because I know there are people in the audience who are upset, about the monopoly of the chief rabbinate, the disputes about who is a Jew, who's even a rabbi, etc. And I wonder if you can offer any words of comfort and hope about how we move through that together.
I have to tell you that my biggest fear is not the arguments that we have between us and folks that are angry at us, because if you're angry at us, it means you care. We're already at a good place. I'll tell you a story. In my last visit to the States, I flew, I think it was from Boston to DC or from New York to DC. And next to me, there was a woman. Her name was Elisha. I didn't know if she's Jewish or not, but I started small talk. So she's a 40-year-old Jewish woman from a place called Edina in Minnesota. There is a place called Edina. And she's married to a non-Jew. I sort of polled her on Israel. I wanted to get a sense, how angry are you about the Western Wall? And she said, What are you talking about? Which wall? And while we're debating each other on the Western Wall, on conversion, my concern is the 3 to 4 million Elishas that don't know what we're talking about and don't care much about Israel because we're drifting away. That's what we need to focus on, and we'll continue debating this. I'm not, putting this aside. Right. We're not going to solve everything. I can promise you that. We won't be able to solve everything because there is a disconnect between the Israeli public that actually elects the officials and Jews around the world, primarily America. But we have to focus. In Israel, there's a term, where do you look for the coin you lost? Right. Do you look for it under the light, or do you look for it where it actually fell? And sometimes it's always easy for us to debate, in the small world between us while we're losing 3 million Jews who are drifting away. And that's why we started Jewish Identity on Campus. So in hundreds of campuses in the United States and around the world, we have 3 organizations, Hillel and Chabad and Olami, teaching Judaism, not BDS stuff, just teaching Judaism. And we're not telling anyone what sort of Judaism. This is one last point, if I may.
And I'm sorry, I'm getting a little blink here, so please.
All right, we're in Israel. I'm not going to be polite. One story I need to tell you. My wife is from a secular home, Gilat. So we're a mixed marriage in Israel, right? I'm Orthodox, she's secular. And when we got married, it was sort of an issue, and I was sure I was going to bring her closer to Yiddishkeit and, bring her through the amazing journey into Judaism. Brought her to shul in Israel, didn't work. Cold Ashkenazi shul, you know what I mean. Anyway, she didn't connect. I founded my high-tech startup about 15 or 18 years ago, and we had to move to Manhattan. That's actually a sentence. So one day we're walking on the Upper East Side, and we see the sign, "Are you tired of playing volleyball? Come to the beginner's minyan." We didn't know what it is, a beginner's minyan. We came, she said, "Let's go, it looks cool." We came, there was this nice guy called George. We came, no questions asked. No one asked her how long her sleeves are or how she got to shul. We walked, but no one asked her. And he was so nice. And we came again the next Shabbos, and for 5 years we came. And it was in New York City that my wife, I'm the leader of the National Religious Party of Israel, it was in New York that she got close to Judaism because they didn't care where she came from, no prejudice, nothing. You're a Jew, you're desired, you're wanted, and that's my message. You're a Jew, we want you, we love you.
Wonderful. Well, I know you're a smart guy because you already anticipated the last question. So just to put that into context with the other things that we've heard, as you know, we met with President Rivlin on Sunday. He said we must work together in more creative ways. We are brothers and sisters. This is the home of Jews around the world. And we met with Prime Minister Netanyahu as well that evening. He invited us to use the pluralistic prayer space. Anyone here is welcome. When you touch the wall, this is your home. This is the home of every Jew. And you also have reiterated such a message of welcome. So we look forward to continuing the conversation. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. One last point, and I have an ask here. I want to ask you. So first of all, every Jew should always know we will always be here for you, always, for eternity. But here's my ask from you. When you're out there, we know the huge disconnect between what Israel is and how Israel is portrayed. So I ask you, especially the students back there, whenever Israel comes up as a topic, you speak up, you fight for Israel. Don't give up, because Israel is an amazing place, an amazing country, and we're doing amazing things. Fight for Israel, stand up for Israel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Woo! Awesome. Thank you so much.
This was great. Thank you.